You are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast. Man, these things are getting awesome. We have already done, 10, 11 episodes, or this is the 11th. I can't even keep track anymore. But it's just been so great. We have a couple more amazing guests. Kyle and Grace, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
You guys, these are the owners of Afternoon Restaurant right here in Gainesville. What street is it on? It's on
Northwest 10th Ave.
Northwest 10th Avenue. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and get more into their story in just a second. But Ty, my man, what's going on in the Best of Gainesville world today?
A lot of things. I'm trying to figure out this new Instagram TV. I'm sure we'll get to it, but it's confusing to me, but I'm ready.
Have you guys seen this IGTV yet?
I was wondering what that was. I saw it on my feed and I didn't click on it, but I saw it. And I was like, what is that?
I saw Kamasi Washington used it first thing this morning, so
there you go.
Yeah, he's on it.
I can tell you, obviously Ty and I are super heavy into social media. Ty, especially on the Instagram standpoint. And, this is probably a good opportunity because I have a lot of Gainesville businesses that have seen me speak and I talk a lot, I do a lot of talks on social media and that sort of thing. So this is a good opportunity. And this is one of those points where I'm always like, you guys, embrace a new platform. You're always hearing people say, oh man, I just don't have time. I can't keep up. There's just too many, yada, 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 yada. It's like, all right, well, look, this just came out Wednesday of this week. I know for anybody who's listening, today is June 22nd. I know we record these things in advance, so this probably comes out towards the end of July. But still, it's a month in at this point when you're listening, and it's like, dude, go embrace it, go learn, go figure it out. I was playing with it. I told Ty this morning, I was like, yeah, because we have the WHOA GNV Podcast Facebook channel. So I'm and then we have the Instagram account. So I'm seeing how it integrates with Facebook because you can hook your Facebook page up to it, send it directly to Facebook. I didn't like it on Facebook. I was hoping it would say something from IGTV so that you knew the video is cropped in. It's vertical.
Yeah, it's the vertical first platform that's really trying to make vertical effect.
And you're gonna try to go up against social media platforms like YouTube and make long form content. I think, and you told me that the minimum is 60 seconds.
I believe the minimum 60 seconds and the max is 60 minutes. Currently,
is it an hour?
Yeah, an hour. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't think it was that long.
Yeah.
So do you upload content? Is that how it is, or you shoot it live on your phone?
It's uploaded right now. I don't think there's a way to shoot it live through the app. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There's what I can tell you from my experience just playing with it is that there's going to be so many more integrations that come with it. I know in the future you're going to be able to I was trying to figure out how to do this, upload your logo on top. You know how they, just in a stories post, how you can take the GIFs and the different things and post them on there, little labels, filters, that kind of thing. It didn't look like there's any of that yet, but you got to think that kind of stuff's going to come. We're going to be able to take our WHOA GNV logo right there in the app, native to the app, and just lay it right on top in the corner. I just see that kind of stuff coming. But my point being is that if you are a business, go start figuring out how this stuff works. Why wait? Everybody's well, it's not my demographic. How many people have told me, Snapchat's not my demographic. That's for kids. That's for college kids. Yeah. Well, so was Facebook until Facebook was for your grandma.
That's true.
Everything ages up. You should at least experiment with it, play with it, learn it. And then, I'm not saying spend all your time there, but I'm sure Best of Gainesville is going to start figuring it out. New Scooters for Less is going to figure it out. The podcast, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to start using this to distribute and, hopefully bring you guys a ton of value through it. So anyway, it was definitely this week's big news.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Instagram itself had hit 1 billion active users, and then just to be able to turn 1 billion active users to another platform in a snap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah,
what it is.
I'm pretty excited. We've bet pretty hard on Instagram, and this is good stuff.
Yeah. And I had posted a video saying some of the same stuff, and my buddy Matthew Bivens had commented, said, "Great point, man. IGTV is new to everyone. The wave hasn't crested yet. checking it out now, like everybody should go check it out. So
And
there
there's
you go.
no ads yet, which there will be at some point.
Yeah, you got to
Now's
think
the
there's
time.
going to be a way to monetize on
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
They're going to at some point.
Yeah, they're gonna get us.
So, well, there's your 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, social media update.
And the Gators won last night, stayed alive.
Yeah.
Beat Texas Tech, so they play tonight against Arkansas.
Awesome.
Hopefully, when
And-
this airs, we're the defending national champions
Yeah,
again.
hopefully.
Yeah.
And are you watching any World Cup stuff at all? Are you a World Cup guy?
Yeah, I've been working during it. I love the World Cup, but
Yeah.
this weekend I'm gonna watch a little bit.
I got to think Argentina's almost. I mean, they have 2 losses. They got to be out, right?
Yeah.
Does that make them out?
No, but they're very close.
Okay. Sorry, we're asking everybody else in the room. All right, I can't even drink that coffee right now because I'm talking too much. Well, we're going to go right on. Hey, Grace and Kyle, thank you guys so much for being here.
Absolutely,
This
Thanks
is
for having
awesome.
us.
This is so much fun for us. I actually got to meet Grace for the first time
Yeah.
last week. Was it last week or the week before? But Sift Local, let me pronunciate correctly, was doing a little pitch competition over there. Or not a competition, they were just pitching to investors there. And you guys aren't normally open at night, but you
Right,
kind of do
yeah.
it, open up for private events and that kind
Yeah,
of thing. And it
exactly.
was set up beautifully. It looked nice. She was, I walk up, I'm like, hey, do you own this place? This is my first place. And then she was, working on the
Yeah.
other side of
Yeah.
the counter. And we had a nice conversation and I got to learn a little bit more about it. But it's just a beautiful place. So I'm excited to hear more about it.
I'm over there all the time.
You are?
At least probably 3 days a week.
Really?
Yeah,
Before.
that's how we met Ty.
Yeah.
That's
Just
awesome.
coming in,
So
yeah.
Ty is what do they call that?
He's a regular.
Regular.
Yeah, well,
regular.
Yeah,
regular.
for sure.
Well, awesome. Well, please, just give us a little bit about your story. Dive in a little bit. Tell us, why does this restaurant exist? What led to this?
Wow, that's
It's a long story.
Yeah.
a loaded question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Gainesville originally, so I'm
Okay.
a Gainesville native, and then I lived here all my life. And when you do that, sometimes you have to leave for a moment in time. So I moved to Portland, Oregon, where a girlfriend of mine was living. I was dating Kyle at the time, my co-owner, and he came with me, and we moved out there. Lived there for 5 years. I worked in restaurants out in Portland the whole time I was there, and we were able to buy a house when we were out there. And then we came back to visit, and when we came back to visit my family, we saw Depot Park, we saw Sweetwater Preserve, we saw all these things that Papa Top, we saw just all these things that weren't there when I was growing up, or even when I was recently visiting, it kind of all popped up while I was away. So that was really cool. So when we came back and saw all of that, we decided, Gainesville's really awesome and totally thriving in a place where you could open a business and I think do really well, just because there are some voids in Gainesville, so it's kind of the perfect place to do it. So we sold our house and moved back here to be close to family and experience Gainesville again, for sure.
Always like that moment. Let's start a business.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
What was that
Well, there was,
conversation
like? There was a turning point. There was the ice storm in Portland that made us change our mind. We flew out. We flew here in February. That time we decided to open a business, and the city was covered in ice. Like we could barely get to the airport. The plane barely took off. I'm like, I gotta get back to Florida. And February here is awesome. So it's like 60 degrees. It's really nice. And we were driving from like Micanopy back here, and we're like, hey, this is kind of a crazy idea. You want to come home?
Yeah, you know that road out to Blue Highway, the back road?
Yeah,
Where you
441. Yeah.
Not
No, the
441.
back one.
Like 235
Oh,
or
the
something.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
where you cross over the Hawthorne Trail.
Yep.
That road is what made us move back. We were driving down that road. It's really beautiful if you haven't been down it. Big live oaks, like covering, really nice. And
Yeah.
that's where we were like, should we do this?
Yeah.
Should we list our house?
Our whole life has been like making decisions like that last minute. That's kind of how we ended up in Portland. We're like,
Okay.
let's go to Portland.
So how long were you in Portland for then?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, let's go back to Gainesville.
Yeah, we love Portland very much.
Yeah.
It's an awesome place, but yeah,
So-
Gainesville just...
When was what was the conversation like of, hey, let's open a restaurant?
Oh gosh, I think Kyle's always mentioned to me like opening some sort of place. He worked at the Top for 10 years. And so his background was...
I was there last night, by the way.
Yeah. Everybody's there
Yeah.
all the time. It's awesome.
They got all my good years.
Yeah. So he was there for 10 years, and I think that it's always been a conversation of like, when we're older, we'll like open a business or do a bar or something like that, just because of all our combined experience. But then we had the opportunity where we didn't have to wait until we were older. We could do it now. So we just decided, like, if we move back to Gainesville, we really want to put something into the community. We don't just want to move and work, because he couldn't really get work here because he does woodworking in Portland. And there's more of a, I guess,
there's a scene there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was I missed that part of the city because I was able to like work for myself and, you know, have I did fine furniture and complete restaurant build outs and cafe build outs, and, you know, I made a living and we were able to buy a house doing it. And then, you know, that and my restaurant experience was, you know, allowed us to, like, I built the whole afternoon myself. So
it helped inform our decision to open a restaurant, because we could do a lot of it ourselves, which made it possible, because it's a really, really huge undertaking.
How old's the restaurant now?
It's probably
9 months.
Yeah.
So really new. We're in startup mode right now.
To me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it feels old to us.
It's like, been there for 10 years.
So when you guys decided to move back and open a restaurant, did you guys have any idea what type of restaurant you wanted to open?
Yeah, so when I came to visit, I actually asked a bunch of my friends that live here, what would you guys like to see? As far as a business goes, not even a restaurant. We were just like, what would you guys like? What is Gainesville missing to you? What do you want to see? And we had a few different ideas. Actually, the first idea was a laundromat, like a really fancy laundromat where you can come wash all your clothes. Anybody out there that wants to like take this idea, go for it. But the machines are very expensive. But there was a place in Portland where you could like have a beer and play arcade games while your laundry was being washed by these really nice machines.
Smart.
Yeah, it was cool.
And people live in dorms and apartments, so sometimes we might not have that. So we were thinking about that, but then when we saw how much the machines cost, we were like, maybe not. And so that was one of the ideas somebody gave me, and then everyone else was like, I really want a place I could go during the day to eat, like from when I take a break from work, and brunch, lunch kind of style food. So
you really sourced feedback from others in order to figure out where the opportunity was.
Yeah, exactly. And mostly, like, I mean, from running this restaurant, we've definitely learned that dinners are like where you're going to make the most money. And so doing the brunch and lunch thing, you know, it's in a way like it just really helps the community, I feel like, because there's just a lot. All of my friends that I talk to were like, I want to see that. I want to be able to come during the day and on a weekday too, and on a Monday.
So where does the name afternoon come from? If it's because it's called afternoon, and you guys are open for breakfast.
We're open till
lunch,
3, so
okay, open till 3. So you're into the afternoon.
Into the afternoon.
So where did the name come from?
I wish it was an interesting story.
No.
It's really not.
One afternoon, we were like, let's call it the afternoon.
Just tell everybody it came to her in a dream.
It did come to me in a dream,
I don't know if I believe that.
No, it absolutely did. I was like, every day, all day? No, all days in Miami. Can't do that. Okay. Afternoon. Really, I wish.
Afternoon's very aesthetics. It's, you know, 8 letters, 4 and 4. It goes down.
It's very Portlandia to me.
Yeah.
It feels like what you'd see on an episode of Portlandia where you get a brunch.
Exactly.
Which I love. That's
An
one of my
afternoon.
favorite shows. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
it's like really that's what they call it there.
In a weird way, it's actually informed a lot of our customers. Like before they walk in the door, they'll be like, afternoon, but you're open in the morning. And I think that helps them because it's already stretching their mind a little bit to be like, oh, wait, what? And so when they come in, our menu's unusual, I think, for Gainesville. It's pretty small and selected. So it's already like prepping them for them to be like, you don't have like traditional breakfast. And so I feel like in a way it like helps us.
Awesome. And through the month of July, so we're obviously focusing on husband and wife duos. I don't know if I
cool.
even gave you that memo.
No.
That's the one thing that I've been really bad at when it comes to this podcast is like explaining like what we're doing and why we asked you guys to come in and all of that kind of stuff. So again, I'm terrible at podcasting and I'm figuring it out on the way. But yeah, so the month of July, we've been having husband and wife duos who work in the business together, who created the business together, coming in and speaking and telling their story. So like, what's it like? I mean, are you guys working in it day to day, or are you like with each other, or do you guys complement each other? Like,
we are next to each other, you know,
a lot.
all day, every day.
Yeah.
You know, we get a few breaks from each other, which is a good thing. We're good at it, and we're open people. So, you know, if we're gonna bump heads, we're gonna talk about it first. We talk about every decision that happens in the restaurant gets discussed between us. And we're pretty good at, like, at the end of the day, we're like, okay, let's talk about X, Y, and Z. We do it, and then we go home, and then everything stays at the restaurant.
Okay.
It tries.
Yeah, we
Doesn't
try
always
to.
happen.
It doesn't always happen, but you know, we're consciously
Yeah.
trying to make those decisions. And
So this
you
is
know.
what's so interesting to me because, you know, our last guest, I'm like, do you guys go home and just talk about work? And they're like, yeah, like, oh, that's all we talk about. It's just like
The
work.
truth is, yeah, I mean, we do go home and
it's
talk
pretty
about
hard
work.
not to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you do with your spouse that you don't work with sometimes. You know, you go home, you talk about your days, and so for us, our day is the same. But in a way that it's really nice because it's such a challenging thing to open a business, and so to do it with your partner, it allows that person to fully understand like how
going
really
through.
busy you are and how challenging it can be and the amount of stress that you have. So I've had friends that have opened businesses and done it, you know, with their partner in a completely different field, and sometimes it works, but I've seen it definitely not work because the restaurant industry is really time consuming and
Tough.
and
Yeah.
and the
I mean,
hours
in
are
general.
usually pretty wild, especially if you're doing a dinner service. And so being able to work together has, in a way, helped our understanding of how busy we actually are and how hard it can be.
So what has been the biggest challenge up to this point? I mean, we're 9 months in now. Like, what is it?
Well, there's a couple different challenges. The unfortunate one is finances.
Yeah,
You know?
nobody teaches you that. So I guess unless you go to business school, but if you're just a person that's wanting to open a business, think there's certain things that make it really, really hard, and understanding finances and taxes and just really the nitty gritty of like the government and what's needed of you, and being in a different state. Like Florida requires a lot of different things than Oregon did, and so just learning those things,
Yeah,
you can
being
have a learning
prepared.
curve. You learn things probably sometimes in the worst way when you're like, oops, I have this huge bill that I have to pay now that I didn't realize because nobody taught me and I didn't do enough research.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
fear not, like that happens to everybody.
Yeah.
We
I
figured
mean,
that out
we're learning
afterwards.
that.
when we
Yeah, like,
talked
I
to
mean,
people,
all of
yeah.
us, there's always something that happens and you're like, oh, well, shoot. I
Yeah.
will go and start doing that.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
like, figure it out. I can tell you, are you doing the bookkeeping and stuff yourselves? Or
I'm doing it now. That's where a lot of the mistakes came from. We have a kind of a part-time bookkeeper that steers us in the right direction. That's been
Okay.
helping out a lot. But yeah,
I can
there
tell you
was-
that was one of the best decisions that I ever made as a business owner was
Yeah.
getting that off of my plate.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done it a lot sooner. And the thing
Yeah.
is, I was super, super strong. And when it came to the finances part, like I did the QuickBooks, did the bookkeeping,
Right.
and I did it. And the thing is, I was almost like proud that I was like strong in it. And I had actually started another company. Actually, I bought into another company, which was a coffee company a few years ago. And when I did that, I was really taking like a CFO type role in the organization. And I was like, well, I'm going to have somebody do the actual bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stephanie Travis, if any of you guys know her. I mean, she's a godsend to me and a lot of other entrepreneurs in this community because she just helps so much when it comes to our bookkeeping. And I literally the conversation was like, yeah, I just want to get this coffee company off of my plate when it comes to the bookkeeping because I knew it wasn't going to be very much. And then the conversation was very much like, well, you know, what about this place? What about New Scooters Plus? Like, what you got going on? I'm like, oh no, it's good. I got it. You know, and then she started telling me some of the things that she could do, and then the conversation went, what else can you do?
Yeah,
Like, what else can you
exactly.
do?
Yeah, I
and
can't wait to
and
do
then I
that.
started analyzing my time, and when I realized that got to the point where I was spending 2 hours a day maintaining and doing the bookkeeping. When I got that off of my plate, not only was it done better because an expert was doing it and she had actually taken our business and turned it into these profit centers,
Right.
which I was able to then measure, but like the amount of money which we're paying her, which is a significant amount in my, entrepreneurial opinion,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's all
It
worth
is,
it because
yeah.
now I'm focused on doing what I love to do, which is sales and marketing and the social media, like the media stuff. Like I don't have to get strapped down by bookkeeping. So that's
Yeah.
why I asked. So like, I'm glad to see that you guys
Yeah.
have help or like
yeah, we have a
early.
little assistance. I cannot wait to hire someone full time. Like I'm waiting for, us to get a higher business rate just so we can put someone in there so I can get a bunch more work done because I have a dedicated day every week that I have to do it, and I feel like it's such a waste.
Well, just know it's something that you can absolutely outsource.
Yeah.
You don't have
We
to have
plan on
you
it.
don't have to have an employee that
Yeah.
does it. But anyway, it's definitely one of those things that saved me a ton of headache. Do you use a bookkeeper or anything?
Yeah,
You do.
use one. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
a challenge.
it's a
there's-
huge challenge.
Yeah.
There's other challenges, that's just kind of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But there's some growing pains for us as far as what we're providing to Gainesville. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people are angry about it. A lot of people
In
come
what way?
Just people come in for, eggs and bacon and, toast, and we're not, we provide that. We have a off-menu item.
Off-menu item.
That's,
called the Dale Cooper for anyone listening. And it's a classic breakfast plate. We offer it when we can tell that maybe the items on the menu aren't really fulfilling somebody's needs. So we'll drop that real quick for them, and they'll be like, ooh, yeah, that's what I want. So we have no problem accommodating. We just want to present a menu that is different. And, it's like you can go to a lot of different places and get really good eggs and bacon and toast.
Dude, I respect the
You know?
hell out of that.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, you want to create something super unique, which you've done, and I love that. I always tell people say come to me and they're like, "Hey, Collin, I'm thinking about starting a new business. What's the advice?" I'm like, "Go look at what all the other businesses are doing, and then go do the exact opposite."
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just another, like, oh, well, this restaurant, they do it this way. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be done. All restaurants are the same. No, like,
You
go
gotta-
look at what they're doing and do something completely different. So I respect that.
Yeah.
But then the flexibility,
Yeah.
the flexibility to adjust, to recognize that you're not going to be able to create that UCE, that ultimate customer experience, which is something that we refer to here a lot at our dealership. You're not going to be able to create it for an individual that has walked in and sat down at a table unless you like adjust a little bit and cater to. I mean,
Yeah.
bravo to you guys. I respect
Yeah.
the hell out of that.
We carry Splenda now.
Which was like when we were talking about opening, we were like, no Splenda, we're not doing that. People should
then-
not be
I like
having
that
stuff.
decision.
Yeah, but then I had a lot of different guests come up to me and tell me, like, I really wish that you had an alternative, and for many, many different reasons. And some reasons I wasn't really aware of. And then when I understood, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's not a hard thing for us to do. So we
Yeah.
can definitely get that in for you. But we do also have, our limit to what we will do, just because
you still want to be
this-
unique.
Yeah, and you just have to, like, eventually, there has to be boundaries. And so that's hard sometimes because I think our culture has bred a very much of, like, the customer is always right. And I feel like that's not always the case.
It's definitely not always the
And
case.
you have to just
Yeah.
have boundaries within reason. And I think that that's a really hard thing to implement because when you're a new business, you want to satisfy everyone and you want to, like,
Amen.
be so good to everyone. And I think there's a way you can be good and still have your boundaries. And so that's what we really strive to do. And I learned that from my experience working in fine dining in Portland. And they were all about the customer experience, but they were also really good at respecting their employees and, like, our needs and where we have to, like, put a boundary up of, I'm not going to take this back to the kitchen for the 5th time.
Right.
Like, this is what we did all that we could do. And
You're gonna fire a customer at some point if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Like because
It's hard.
it is super hard.
It sucks.
Because I resonate with it so much. I mean, you want to please everybody.
Yeah.
You want to deliver a great customer experience, but then you get people who they push you. They try to take advantage of you. And I've sat down. I've literally told people, I'm not going to sell you a scooter.
Yeah. I've
Like I've
fired.
had that conversation before.
I've fired golf students before.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just
You ha-
can't.
yeah,
I
and you
can't
have
do
to.
it because it's not worth my time.
Well,
Yeah, you have to-
This is why I always refer. I always go back to core values. We do always focus mission, vision, values.
Right.
I'm huge on that, especially when you start growing the organization when it's not just husband and wife anymore. Because you guys have your values, and as you start to bring on more and more and more and more and more team members that help you grow this thing, it's important that those values are aligned. Well, it's the same thing with customers. Their core values have to be aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not. And it's just like, look, your values are not the same as ours. We're not the right fit for you. let me try to find a place for you that would be a better, better scooter dealership to fit your needs.
That's also what I'm all about too. I've had a couple people come in before, and we really didn't have what they were looking for, and I was like, hey, have you guys heard of Civilization? It's right down the street. You don't have to drive far. They have parking. They probably have what you're looking for if you want French toast or something like that. Or, we don't sell wholesale bread right now. You should go to the Vine and check them out. They have really great bread. So I think it's all about that too, building community
of course.
And about the customer and being like, we don't have what you want right now today.
Yeah.
But here's a couple places that might for you to go to, and then when you feel like coming back to us, we're here when you need us, kind of a thing.
I really like that you listen and aren't not just getting stuck in your ways, because you could still be like, no, this is our line, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going to focus, we're going to offer these things. You could say no Splenda, right? You have that decision as a business owner, but the fact that you do listen to the market, you listen to what people say, and you hear them out and you make adjustments along the way. You guys are going to totally figure it out because you're receptive to that. But I would still I love the fact that you don't want to compromise too much and you want to stick with what's making you unique. So I really, really like that.
When we first were opening a business, we got a lot of unsolicited advice. I'm sure new mothers go through this a lot, where you have other people that have kids, AKA businesses, and they come up to you and they're like, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you should be doing. Only do this, only do that. And a lot of it everyone contradicts kind of each other. And so I remember getting just tons of really wild advice or things we should be doing. And then I was buying some vintage set of China in Ocala, and this really wild man, wild time, was like, you're opening a restaurant. I have some advice for you. And I was like, oh, here we go. And he actually gave me the best advice I've ever been given. And he said, don't listen to your customers. And he didn't say it in a way don't ever listen to them, but you can't please everybody.
Right.
You have to stick to your vision and be true to that, within your means, and hope for the best. And people will come if they're into it.
I agree.
Yeah. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Not expecting
We've
you.
Been riding
no
on that
shoes,
advice for a long time.
No shoes, crazy hair. He said he used to own a bunch of businesses in Miami that were on Miami Vice. Who knows if that's true or not? But he had really great advice, and that's always rung in my head.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love it too.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys stuck with what you wanted to do. I know the first time I walked in there, I was like, all right, this is my style. When I was in Vegas, we had all sorts of cool little interesting places off strip, and it reminds me of a place downtown called Public Us. And it's got dinosaurs, not in the same way, but it's what it is, and it's got great coffee, and the owners were there, taking orders, and they'd come and sit with you or whatever, and it was just wow, this is so easy, and it's good, and it makes you want to become a regular, which I am now.
Yeah, that's great.
And I always will be.
It.
And on that stretch, I wanted to get to real quick. Why did you guys choose that area of town, the Grove Street area? Because it's kind of you guys are making a bet on that area. I know Cypress and Grove was open, but
we'll bring a little context to just the people who are listening who might not know Gainesville, might not know that area.
So Grove Street, and I've had to explain this to my parents who moved here 30 years ago. Where is Cypress and Grove? Where is it? And I tell them, hey, you're at Max drive-thru.
Yeah.
You just got burgers. You're on your
Always
way out.
Always my point of reference.
Take a left out of Max. Go towards 6th Street and just keep going, and you'll see this awesome little restaurant on the left, and you'll see the old ice house and the brewery on the right. That's where these two places are, and you should go. But once I say Max, it's game over. They know exactly where that is.
Yeah.
But I love that area, one, because I'm near there, sort of. But two, it's just pretty. It's on the bike trail. Why there?
It was kind of a fluke. We were looking at a different. So I saw that space online when we were in Portland, and I was like, it got put on our list. I was like, hey, let's go check this place out. I didn't even know Grove Street was a thing.
I had no idea either.
I'm like, that's where Hide and Zeeks used to be.
Yeah,
it was in that neighborhood. Which is one of the greatest record shops in this town's ever had, but it's gone. So that was on the list, and then we saw that the old food co-op on South Main was up, and Chris Philly, who I used to rent from years ago, he owns that, and we were kind of in works to move in there, and we had the architect working up drawings, and then it kind of didn't work out with the woman staying in there, so we lost that project. So we're like, all right, we're kind of in a panic. We're like, where do we put this? We have no idea. So I'm like, let's go check out this place that was on the list. I rode my bike up there that afternoon, peeked in the window, and I'm like, it looks like garbage in there. Let's get in there. Because the floors. The floors were the whole thing. The floors are beautiful in there. And I was like, I can fix the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like, we have these floors. It's kind of the centerpiece
Little
of the
did
place.
we know.
Yeah, little did we know that, I still have back pains from building that place. But, so, yeah, we kind of signed a lease, like, within a week. And then, I had a dumpster out back, a couple days later, and I was ripping walls out. So that neighborhood was kind of like, we got in there and we're like, oh, there's a brewery across the street. And it was like this, we're like, okay, this is kind of off the strip downtown, because I worked downtown like my whole life. And I'm like, it looks like, I'm like, it's by Max. It's kind of out of the way, and it's got a parking lot. So
Yeah. And
we
the
kinda-
trail.
Parking lot's huge.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
we kind of made a blind, like uninformed decision on that
Yeah.
space. And, I am kind of a hard head in that way, where I'm like, I can make anything work.
Yeah.
Like, I just do it here and like, call all our friends to come hang out, and then,
Yeah.
hopefully people follow them in there. So
Yeah, there are definitely some sellers, like the parking lot,
Yeah.
the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's down the street from our house,
Yeah.
so that's cool.
Yeah.
And we also really wanted to make sure that we stayed on, technically I guess that's Northwest, but kind of on the east side of Gainesville. I grew up on the east side of Gainesville, and so it was really important to me that we don't go past 13th Street, at least for this venture.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do downtown, because downtown's been done.
there's no parking.
And there's no parking, and even though the foot traffic would probably be really great for us, we had the parking lot, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we were like, we'll be all right, it'll work out. And then we got so lucky, we have Cypress and Grove across the street, and then
Which is a good
behind
bike.
us,
Was that was already there or no?
No,
Yeah.
that was there. They were
already
open
there.
for a year, I believe, right when we moved in.
Who?
Yeah.
Cypress
And Grove.
Because they're pretty new too.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty new.
Yeah.
So-
And they were going to be called Rainstorm Brewing, but there's another brewery called Rainstorm
Yeah, I
somewhere.
heard about that.
So it's like a
Good thing they didn't learn that lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
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 But to me, it's
That's
a
an
stroke
expensive
of good luck that they decided to name it Cypress and Grove, which is the two cross
I think it's
streets
really
that they're
sweet.
on, and
Yeah.
It's cool.
now it's
I like
called the
it.
Grove Street neighborhood, and it's really kind of it's branded that community.
Did someone
And
brand that, or is that just kind of happened?
I think it's just kind of on social media they're called the Grove Street neighborhood.
Yeah, it's
I
always
think
been the Grove Street neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like Maria, who's a local activist in that neighborhood, she's lived there for 35 years or something like
Yeah.
that. She, used to have a Grove Street festival, and she does the Dreamers Garden, which
Oh,
is
okay.
across from Earth Pets.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got really lucky with Cypress and Grove, and then behind us is Working Food, and it's pretty crazy because since I grew up in Gainesville, you always have you hear all these old Gainesville stories, and Afternoon used to be Captain Louis in the 60s and 70s, which was like a fish fry restaurant. And then it changed hands and was a hair salon on and off for the rest of the time. But behind where Working Food was, there's a hair school there. And my uncle went to hair school there. And then he worked at Captain Louis. He worked the counter
That's crazy.
for
Yeah.
a week or two, because that's him. And then he did hair the rest of the time. So it's just really sweet that
Yeah, we have a ton of
story
the
came
menus I
together.
found in the
History's in
attic,
there.
like a whole stack of like Captain Louis Gala menus from the 70s.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And we have people come in and they'll go, this place is really familiar.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, they're like, what did it used to be? I was like, well, in the 60s and 70s it's Captain Louis. And they were like, oh yeah, I used to come here as a kid
Yeah.
when it was that.
Maybe
That's
one of these
cool.
Friday nights we do a Captain Louis throwback
We've
night
talked
with the
about
menus.
it.
We got him.
Yeah, we
We
do
need to
these
get a
after,
fryer.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. We don't have a
Which
fryer
we
in there.
do not have.
But we do a thing called After Dark, and the first Monday of every month we do a dinner, and we allow our chef to just
Second
have fun.
Friday.
Is it Second Friday?
We
What'd she
release
say?
the menus on Monday, which
Yeah.
I think is what you were thinking of.
Yeah, we
This
release-
is why the husband-wife duo is so
Yeah.
important.
But yeah, we let our chef Austin, who's just a crusher, we let him
Ultimate
basically
crusher.
do whatever he wants, and it's been so much fun because our last dinner we did a whole fish, and we just roasted a whole fish, served it on a big platter of wood for 2 people, and then he just picked at it, and we were a little scared because we were like, is Gainesville ready to eat a whole fish? Because it's kind of like it's a head on, the eyeballs in there, the tail's in there, and then we sold out of them within an hour. We sold like 30 of them.
It was really fun. Those are my favorite nights to work that we do. It's the after dark dinners.
Yeah, and that creates that just that uniqueness.
Yeah,
You're like, man, I want to make sure that calendar. You write that in the calendar.
Yeah, it's cool.
Sure
People are calling now and they ask like, when's the dinner? When's the menu come out? So there's like a little bit of a hype behind it, which
and you
is
know
fun.
how it's worked? Instagram.
Yeah.
Back to Instagram. Like really, that's how we promote it. That's where we put the menu, and that's where a lot of people, when I ask them like, how'd you hear about After Dark, they'll be like, oh, I saw it on your Instagram.
That's fantastic.
So it's been really valuable.
You
sure.
have how many? Like I think I looked at it last night, and you do have a great Instagram presence, and food does well on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that has always done well.
I'm
on
very
Instagram.
thankful for them. When I post an afternoon picture, it's game over.
Yeah. Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about that, because I mean, obviously, a company's 9 months old. You're in that grit and that grind. You don't have a ton of money to be spending on marketing, right? So you have to use the resources that you have, and Instagram is definitely a resource. So, what's been the most effective for you, like using Instagram? Like, what's working, what's not working, which posts get the most engagement? I mean, I'm kind of interested by that.
Yeah, I feel like for us, Instagram's awesome because it's free. So for businesses, like, hey guys, it's free. Like, don't forget that, and you control your content and what you want on there. So that's pretty cool. And so we just post, I think the thing that did the best that we've posted is our cold brew slushie. We started doing a slushie. So we have a slushie machine, and we do cold brew slushies with coconut milk.
That's awesome.
And then we posted a picture of that, which was actually like,
oh wow,
not very photogenic.
Ty's showing it to me right now. To everybody who's listening.
That's my baby. I've been working on that thing. Every week I adjust it like an ounce this, ounce
yeah,
that.
it's really fun. It's really fun. So that one got the most, I think, feedback and likes and comments. Mostly people tagging each other, which I think is really cool, because it's like, I do that to my friends on Instagram. I'll be like, just tag them on a funny post or something I want to go to. And
so in the comments, they're just tagging their friends.
Tag their
check
friends.
this out. Oh man, that's so awesome.
So that's been really great too, because then it spreads our Instagram to their friends, and then their friends tag another one of their friends. So it's like this chain kind of effect that happens. I don't know what else we've... After Dark gets a lot of likes, like when we post like a whole fish or something really radical. And
so that's another post on Instagram you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, so those do well too.
Is there anything else that you guys are doing from a marketing standpoint to bring awareness to your business?
What else
No,
are we
we
doing?
rely really heavy on word of mouth.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of our life in this town, I was behind a bar for 10 years, so, I got a good knowledge of who lives here and, how to talk to people, so we like it that way. We are kind of taking a little bit of sacrifice in the beginning, not throwing flyers and stuff out there, and just rely on people telling people.
I think that kind of has a more profound effect. It's like, you can see a flyer and be like, oh, cool. But when you have a friend that tells you, hey, I went to this place, it's super good. Like, I ate there. I had this experience. Like, that is going to be what brings that person in, I feel like, more than seeing a flyer. Even though
100%.
flyers, I've definitely flyered.
Yeah, we flyered. Right?
Like,
we flyered
there's no
a
doubt.
couple
Like,
times.
I went on UF campus because I think I was like, oh, I want to try to get more UF kids in there. And so I went with two other small business owners. I went with Sabrina from WHOA Vintage, and then I went with Kieran from Third House Books. And so we all kind of are new businesses, new-ish in the last 2 years or so. And so we went and flyered together as a unit, which helps to have support.
But you're absolutely right. Nothing will ever beat word of mouth marketing.
No, it's amazing.
And I think those events have a huge part of that. When you do an event that's unique, that's not all that, you're not, if you have a sale every day, if our scooter shop had a sale every day, it's like, it doesn't have that same effect, but if you have that event, whether it's once a year, once a month, and people just expect it, that's generating the word of mouth, I can tell you right now.
And I always tell people, word of mouth mixed with Instagram can really show itself when other people decide to take time to post something about your business.
Oh, yeah.
And if you just go on afternoons like location tag, which I use location tags for everything. When I'm traveling, I'm always searching, Micanopy, where's the that's how I find a lot of my content. they've built a very Instagrammable business with good-looking tables and floors and walls
Right.
and food, and it makes people want to take those photos. So when you go to their location, it's not just afternoon's last 9 photos. It's 9 people that were probably there for
Well, heck, just
breakfast in the afternoon.
the slushy with
Right.
the tablecloth you just showed me, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Like portrait mode on
Exactly,
the iPhone. What is it?
Yeah,
Is it like?
Yeah,
really hard to take
definitely
photos.
portrait
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
Thank you,
It
iPhone,
looks really
for that.
And I think that's
Um,
something that other businesses can learn from. I think a lot of businesses are more Instagrammable or shareable than they realize. And there's a couple places in town that I won't name, but just as far as having, better tablecloths or slightly better lighting or maybe a different type of mug you put the coffee in, like everything matters. It's the food might taste good, but you're like,
Exactly.
this isn't interesting enough to capture the moment.
Yeah.
And, I think when you walk into like New Scooters for Less, you got the prize wall, you got cool colors, you got the scooter sign, you got the smiley face building. It's all makes you start to feel like, hey, I need to send this to somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the world we're in, why this IGTV, it's like, hey, there's interesting stuff going on, and we want the creators or your clients or your customers to be your word of mouth, because that's the most trustworthy. Yelp reviews, that's going out at some point. It's the personal reviews from your customer.
Can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Why is that?
We fought Yelp so hard.
We really didn't
want
wanna
to
be
do
on
it at
Yelp.
all. Like, we didn't sign up. We wanted nothing to do with it. And then people just kept reviewing, and then Yelp is kind of relentless because they were calling every day and like, you need to set this up. You need to set this up. So we finally did it, and we're glad. We have a great little review.
Yeah, we
section
definitely get
there.
business from it.
Yeah.
Because people will be like, oh, I looked you up on Google and you were the first brunch place on Yelp that came up. And so I'll be like, another example of, okay, we have to like
Bend a little.
chill out for
Yeah.
a second
Yeah.
here and like just do this. And so-
But I as a business owner, I understand the perception of Yelp. I just wish Yelp understood the perception of themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
a little bit more. Because
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like they have too much control. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they show what people want to see. That you can, like, I think we have like 3 stars on Yelp, right?
Yeah.
And then if you go through like the 50, 75, I don't even know how many are on there now, the little filtered reviews, they're choosing what people see.
Yeah.
Whereas with Google, like, it shows everything, which you guys have great Google ratings.
Yeah.
And I didn't check out Yelp, but I assume it's great.
Yelp's fine.
But like, we have great Google reviews, and the ones that aren't, like, we got into this not too long ago. The ones that aren't so hot, like, we respond and we try to take care of those customers and make it right. But no, like, I get it, like that perception. I don't like. I'm not a Yelp fan either.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
fought it. The corporation won. But as far as like Instagram, that was kind of a conscious decision of when we opened that place to think about every single detail: silverware, cups, tables, napkins, like the whole thing. Because there was places that inspired us in Portland to open this place. Those details were thought about there. And I had a little bit of experience doing build outs with different cafes and restaurants in Portland, and I would observe and I'd watch these people have hour-long meeting about napkins, and then I'm like, that's a great idea. Like, you really should think about what napkins are on the table, and you should think about every little detail. And
Well,
like, the
yeah.
bathroom should be Instagrammable. Like, people should go in that bathroom and not want to come out. Should be in there taking pictures of themselves for an hour. Their food's gonna get cold. But
Yeah, and I think that for us, it's about the whole experience, not just like, you can have good food, and I think a lot of places in Gainesville really do, but then they miss that. Well, what about the rest of the experience? What about service, the quality of service that you're giving to your customers? What about the way everything looks? Because you're not only paying for food, but you're paying for an experience. And so it's like, when I go to a restaurant, I want to feel like, okay, yeah, this food's really good, but wow, I'm like transcended by my experience here because of the way things look and the way things taste, and kind of hitting all the senses there, and not just your taste, right?
It's the feeling.
It's the feeling that you get, and especially when you leave, I want people to leave and be like, wow, what just happened to me? Like, that was great, and I feel so relaxed because I just really got this whole experience. And so, if anything, I really, really hope that people will come to afternoon and be inspired to kind of maybe update their own businesses and be like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Because as somebody who's done it, doesn't actually cost that much money. It doesn't. You can be really thrifty. You can go and just buy like a can of paint and just take down some drapes or whatever you have going on. Like open up your windows. Like,
But you know what's so unique about that is that so many, and sorry to interrupt you.
no.
You start talking and my brain starts going. I'm like, is that people are inspired by that thriftiness. Like
Yeah.
I think like in today's world, people are like, wow, like look at they've made this place work by just doing things a little bit differently and like repurposing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's cool. Like I actually dig
yeah,
that.
you can have a theme with thrifting. Like you don't have to look like you
Don't have to look like a thrift store.
Yeah.
Well, like
You don't
I
have
think when
you can-
some people when
yeah.
they think of thrifty, it's like, oh, like it's cheap or something. Like your place does not look cheap at all.
No,
It looks beautiful.
all the ceramics I have on the counters and like all the decoration stuff, those are all from thrift stores. They're either from Hospice Attic or from places in Micanopy. And they might be a little more than $5. They might be somewhere between $20. But if you're opening up a restaurant and you have a little bit in your budget, you can make it affordable and you can make it also look nice. And so that just adds to people's overall experience, people's willingness to Instagram your business and basically be your walking advertisements. It's like, and so that's the thing with Gainesville sometimes where I get a little bit like, oh, come on, guys. Like, I really want you to do well because you have a great product, but you're missing these other points here. And so I just hope that we can like maybe help influence that a little.
Yeah, no, of course. Kyle, real quick, you were talking about Portland, in saying that you drew some inspiration from there. I mean, if we like went and Google searched, or if I took a trip to Portland, if I took a trip to Portland, and
We'll give you a long list of places to go.
would there? I guess would I be able to tell of any of that influence?
You would.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you name like one or two of the places that you drew?
Aesthetically,
influence from?
no. We kind of went a different direction aesthetically, but our model as far as the counter service, we call it casual fine dining, where you can go up to the counter and order, and you get napkins, and it's really nice, but you can get up in and out. It's almost like casual fast or fine dining.
Yeah, you don't bust your own table.
Yeah.
We'll do that. It's quick.
There's a place in our old neighborhood in North Portland where we owned a home called Milk Glass Market, and it was a little bit smaller than us, but it was the same idea, just going up to the counter, ordering food. You sit down, it's really high-end coffee, and then another one is Sweet Edie, which they are a tiny place and they don't want to grow, and I love it. They have this really amazing small curated menu. They bake all their own goods and they do all that. They had an article written in like GQ about like the best small restaurant in America or something like that. But it was this really cool neighborhood breakfast spot, and and then we would grab certain other ideas from certain places, and afternoon is definitely like a hodgepodge of a lot of restaurants in Portland.
Yeah, we have people come in, and if they live in Portland or from Portland, they'll walk in and go, "This place reminds me of like Sweet ED a little bit," and I'll be like, "Exactly," because they have a record player at Sweet ED, and that's where we took the idea, borrowed the idea to have a record player at the restaurant, and so that was totally Sweet ED. All Sweet ED.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I mean, there was something
Sweet
that
ED.
like
Awesome.
not just playing records to the fact that it looks cool, but I loved sitting in that restaurant and hearing that record end and watching someone go over there and flip that record, and then hearing that needle hit there, and then hear that silence for like the 10 seconds before the song starts. I love that. I think about it all the time, and then I hope that experience happens in the afternoon. Afternoon's a little bit loud, so I don't know if they're getting that same experience, but that was something that really stuck with me in that restaurant, of just like being kind of tired and having a cup of coffee and like hearing a record get flipped over. It was really great for me, so I was hoping to pass that on to the people here in this town, and I had to do something with my record collection, so
Yeah.
So what's next for you guys? Like we're 9 months in. What's the future look
Yeah, you're
like
gonna
if
think
you
we're-
could paint it your way?
there is a lot more happening than we expected to be happening so soon. In the new year, we're going to be open for dinner full time at the restaurant. We're doing the after darks for the rest of the year, and then if everything works out properly, in January we're going to be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I think we're going to be the only place open on Monday night because everything's closed on Monday night.
Yeah.
So
Sunday
that's
night too. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are what are the hours like right now?
We're
9 to 3.
9 to 3 right now, and
Every
then
day of the week?
Close Wednesday.
Closed Wednesday. Why Wednesday? I'm just curious.
It's farmers market day.
Okay.
So it allows our chef and everyone that works for us to go to the market and hang out, even though I guess they could anyway because it doesn't start till 4. But it just allows a day for prep and for maintenance and for making sure that stuff stays really clean. I think when you're open 7 days a week, I don't see how that's possible. So yeah, and it gives everybody a day.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we wanted to be open on Monday. For some reason, Gainesville's closed on Monday. Like the whole town kind of shuts down on Monday, and I think it's really strange. I don't know how it started or who started doing it, but it seems like it's a group effort at this point.
I hope that works out for you guys. I can tell you, like in our industry, like power sports industry, most dealerships are open Tuesday through Saturday. They take Sunday, Monday's their weekend.
Yeah. Monday's our best weekday.
We've always been open on Monday, and it's done very well for us.
Yeah, Monday's very busy
usually
for us.
one of our busiest days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us
Golf
too.
course industry, everything's usually closed Monday if it's a country club or something too.
Yeah.
Just weird.
Yeah.
And then we're starting a project with the down by campus. We're opening a cafe.
Cross 13th Street. Here we
We're
come.
we're the downtowners that are going to cross the street. It's going to be behind the swamp where the swamp offices used to be. It's going to be grab and go. It's going to be healthy, fresh squeezed juices. We're going to have high-end coffee in there. It's going to be obviously aesthetically beautiful.
They're doing there's a lot of development down there right now.
There is a lot of development down there.
Yeah.
And so it's going to clean up nice.
So we're banking on that foot traffic down there. The foot traffic is insane down there when school's in. So it's going to be a little different from afternoon. I think we're going to try to veer away from afternoon a little bit and just have it be its own thing. But it's definitely going to be a cafe. It's going to be hopefully the idea is students can come in and grab a really healthy breakfast and a really well thought about drink and get to class on time.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
That's
or
awesome.
if you live sort of near Midtown
Right.
and you
Yeah.
want coffee like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do,
That's not Dunkin' Donuts.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
go down there.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's been desperately
You're gonna have the
needing
coffee
somewhere
slushy
good
there?
forever.
Oh yeah, that
Cold
coffee
brew
slushy
slushy.
will be there.
Yeah,
I got to
cool.
try that.
Yeah.
I'm like
Oh,
super
it's so
excited.
good.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Yeah.
Well, great. So we're about to start wrapping up, and Ty and I have created a new little mini segment for Gainesville. I think we should try to keep it like 5 questions.
Okay.
Actually, let's do 6. Three
right,
three
cool.
each. Okay, we're gonna go back and forth. Now these are supposed to be like short answer, like very brief, just straight to it.
And we might have touched on a couple of these, but
Yeah.
we've got some good ones. So, first one, what's the most underrated aspect of Gainesville, in your opinion?
Ooh.
Wow, guys.
Yeah, that's a deep question. Is that underrated? You got food? What do you want? Food? Do you want
You do
experience?
your thing, man.
She's like, well, I
That's
got my own
actually a
answer.
really hard question because
Most underrated thing about Gainesville?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say nature.
yeah, that's a
I
good
think
answer.
that's a common theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
why a lot of people have said they've moved back. At
Yeah.
least on the podcast, people have moved, said,
I
hey,
appreciate it more, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
To
why
everybody
we moved
who's
back.
listening, we have nature.
Yeah.
Come.
I mean, Teapot Park and the Sweetwater Reserve is why we moved back. I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff wasn't here when we were growing up. So
Yeah.
Cool. What's a local business or person that you look up to and why?
Well, I got Scott and Hal. They own the Top and the whole empire over there. They kind of raised my restaurant life. I mean, I started washing dishes there when I was 19, and then I left like as the bar manager, and I just spent my whole life there. And they were just the sweetest dudes, and they took care of everyone, in front of them. And I thought they ran their business well, but they ran it their way, and they did a really great job at that. And they do a good job of keeping a community together.
Yeah, I had the San Diego chicken last night for the first time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Is this the first
It's
time you've had
awesome.
it?
That was the first time I've had it.
We had a top basketball team called the San Diego Stuffers.
It's weird because every time, like I said this before, every time I go there, I always end up getting the same thing, which I really love, the Mastodon burger. It's just-
Oh yeah, that
But,
was
like,
awesome.
But I was like, you know what, I'm going to try something new tonight, and I'm really glad that I did because it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch up a question, especially since you guys have moved away. I was away. I was in Vegas for a little while. What are the maybe 2 things that you are hopeful that Gainesville will bring to the community in the short term? What are we missing, in your opinion?
I mean,
Or what do you want more of?
I think we're missing a lot of things, and we're just like seeing that as opportunities to keep open businesses.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say like modernization, not in the term of like condos and stuff, because that's terrible, but more of like, I feel like Gainesville has the potential to be more of a city feel, and more of a place where people see opportunity and not just like a jumping pad.
Yeah.
Like you guys are trying to do. Like, guess what? You can stay here and you can do it. Like, people so many times I hear are like, no, Gainesville, no. Like, it's a college town. It's dead in the summer. We're noticing that it's less and less dead in the summer, and people are staying here. And I would like to see people continue to stay here and build their businesses here.
Yeah. Have families here. Do the whole. I mean, I think there's great opportunities for just people to raise kids there. There's so much to do for kids. So.
You know what else I'd like to see? If I could do this really quick, just plug this. I really want to see more social service programs. Gainesville is so lacking in any sort of social services. I feel like UF doesn't have a school of social work. Santa Fe does not have a school of social work. And we focus so much on medicine and things like that here, which is wonderful. But I also worry about the mental health in Gainesville. And
Grace has a degree in social work.
Yeah. So I'm just plugging this really quick because it's a huge thing I noticed moving back here. There's like such limited social services. And when we do have them, they're vastly underfunded and overrun, and no volunteers are there. And it's just...
You got to be careful. Somebody's going to put you in charge of that really quick.
Yeah. I would like to see people do that kind of stuff here as well. Open nonprofits like that would benefit people in the community.
Yeah. And you have a good one near you, the Bread Almighty. But yeah, that's definitely lacking in that department.
Yeah,
I agree.
everyone runs really, really thin.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Just having more of that would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Favorite Gator sport?
Oh man.
Basketball.
Yeah. I have, like, people get mad at me all the time. I hate college sports. I'm a full pro guy. I don't think they're ready yet.
What favorite pro team?
Eagles.
Eagles.
I'm from Philadelphia, so
Dude,
this is
my
my
wife's
year.
from Philly.
Yeah.
Dude, and Trey Burton just went to the Bears, but he won a Super Bowl and he was
Yeah,
from,
it was my
Florida.
year. I'm getting my Eagles tattoo next week. So
Are you on the LeBron train?
I don't know if that's gonna happen. The Sixers sucked basically my whole adult life, so I lost track of them. And we lived in Portland, and there's only one team in Portland. Trailblazers. So we're big Trailblazers fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. So, even if you guys haven't listened to all the podcasts, if the WHOA GNV podcast could help you build a relationship or connect with someone locally that maybe you guys look up to on social media, or just someone that's interesting to you, who could we help connect you with here in the community?
You guys connected me with you, which is who I'd want.
Cool.
That's a right answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, I mean, this didn't exist in Gainesville when we were growing up. Like, the idea of someone, just people were like, let's bring more people here. It was just kind of like a town of like either punk kids playing music or kids in and out of town. And then, I feel like it's growing up, and it's growing up fast. It's really cool to watch. I love it.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. This is
awesome. I'm pumped. It seems like the feedback keeps getting really, really good, and like I said, I'm still figuring it out as we go. But it's been a lot of fun.
And
thus
I
far.
keep learning that a lot of the people that grew up here moved away and come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then a lot of the people that are really like pro Gainesville people are people that maybe didn't grow up here and they came here for college and they're like, this place is cool.
Yeah, I think if I didn't grow up here, I'd be like, whoa, yeah, Gainesville, awesome.
Yeah, it's,
and now
it's
I am
just
like
interesting.
that. But,
yeah.
I
I'm
think I
learning
told you
more every
before
podcast. Yeah.
How many people have like come to New Scooters for Less as a college job?
Yeah.
Graduated, left, and then came back.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see that ongoing trend.
Definitely.
So I'm gonna switch it up. This is not a Gainesville question. This is a husband-wife question to end the episode. What's your favorite trait about one another?
Ooh. Oh, man.
Don't mess this up. I was trying to line up that opportunity for you, buddy.
Do you want me to go first?
No, I have an answer. Grace
good.
has this talent that I do not have of just like bringing people together and inspiring people really well. I'm not very good at that. I'd rather just build stuff. But people, like even as far as our own employees, they look up to Grace so much, and I'm just the guy that fixes stuff. And I look up to that a lot about Grace. Yeah, it's something cool, and it's something that I don't possess, and I don't think I ever could. And I think that kind of rounds our relationship off really well.
Yeah. Kyle. Kyle.
This is fun. We didn't do this last time.
He's the most hardworking person I know. And that can sometimes be hard in a marriage when you are married to someone who also is married to their work. But it's very, very inspiring. And it's something I don't possess, really. I mean, I'm a hardworking person, but not near as hardworking as Kyle. And the other thing about him is he's also one of the most modest people I've ever met. So, you know, I'm always like promoting him for him. And that's just a really sweet quality. He's not somebody who gives it all up in the first go around. You really got to like work for it to figure out like what he does and what he's good at. So I like that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun.
Yeah,
I
this
really
was
enjoyed
It's
this.
fun. I like it.
Well, definitely. I mean, I think I can see where this is going to turn. You know, if it keeps going really, really well, you know, a few years, a couple years, whatever, we'll have check-ins. We'll have people back and see how their businesses grow. See what, you know, it's just going to be.
Yeah,
that's
that'd
going to
be
be so much fun
really cool.
to like have the same guests come in and just like reflect. Since the last conversation, all the changes.
You can have us back separately after we get divorced from owning a restaurant together.
Owning two.
That won't happen.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna make it. You have that
Yeah.
perseverance, that grit, and that grind. I love that about you guys. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thanks to everybody who's listening. Thanks to everybody who's giving feedback. Please, like, keep listening. Share this with your friends. Please, I just want you guys to share this and get it out there. Let Gainesville know what we're doing. Let the world know what we're doing. And we're going to keep bringing you businesses and individuals that just make it go, whoa. So thank you, everybody. Everybody say bye on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.